Hello, this is a video on how to put together the pump at the cottage. So as you can see right now, the pump is in many pieces, and here's the base of the pump here, which is attached of course to the countertop. This is the piston. This is the piston that goes up and down inside the pump, and there's several other parts here that are part of the piston. Over here in this little can of oil we have a gasket for the piston. So I'll just pull that out. It's soaking in the oil for the off season so that it doesn't dry out. The gasket is actually made of leather. I'm not sure if it has to soak in the oil, but sometimes we soak it in oil. Sometimes if you wrap it in aluminum foil that's well soaked in oil and then wrapped in aluminum foil, that's not too bad. So I just clean that up a little bit there. Feels nice and soft. That's good. This package here is the other flapper leather, and so this one was oiled and then wrapped in foil. It feels nice and soft, and feels like it's going to work fine as well. So it doesn't matter exactly what order we do things in. This little weight here attaches to the flapper. So the little weight goes on the flapper like this. Screw comes in the back there. You can see there's sort of a ring around here that's indented in the flapper. That ring is caused by the base over here. There's a ring in there that makes that indent. So that kind of gives you a clue which way to put the little weight on. And I'll just snug it up here. Not super tight, but we certainly want it snug so it's not going to fall off. The little bent tip on the flapper points towards the blank side here. So that's going to end up sitting just down here, and it goes like this when the pump's operating, and that then seals and prevents the water from going back down the pipe when we're pumping. Can go that way, can go this way. I don't think it matters exactly which way it faces. So now I'm going to put together the piston. So there's my my gasket, and it just sits on top of the piston base here, and then the little valve here drops in on top. It's got a part that sticks down so that when the piston gets to the bottom of its travel, causes that valve to open up, and then the shaft of the piston comes on here. It's threaded on the inside, and those threads are going to engage the threads here and pinch that gasket in there and hold it all down. This can probably be hand tight. Just screw that up nice and snug, like that. And this is leather, big heavy leather gasket. Then is going to seal on the outside, the inside of the sleeve over here. These leather gaskets are still available. I bought them at the Home Hardware in North Bay. I'm sure that for many years they'll probably be available either in stores like that in the north or to buy online. So now we're just going to put the piston into the pump. Move that oil out of the way so we don't spill that. go, and the shaft then comes at the top. And you can hear it making a nice tight seal in there. This piece here is going to screw onto the top. Again, that's hand tight is probably okay here. I have seen this come loose through use once in a while. Down here we've got just a little pin that's going to run through the top of our piston. And it is rather unofficially secured with a safety pin. There we go. It starts to look like a pump. And now, so that just sits on top here, like that. And then we have 2 bolts to put in. I put the nuts on the bottom. It probably doesn't really matter. And these need a 9/16 wrench to tighten. In fact, 2 of them. I got to hold the bottom as well because it looks like they're going to turn on me. Here's a weird little sort of semi-adjustable wrench I found in the tool room, but that is going to hold onto that nut, I think, quite adequately, and then I'll just snug it up on top. Good idea to alternate the tightening of these a little bit so that you don't over-tighten one when the other one's not been tightened and end up compressing everything crooked. As you're tightening these, you're squishing down that leather gasket with the little weight on it that we put in the base, and so you don't want to have it uneven, and it could damage the gasket, I suppose, too. So those are snug without being tightened to the full extent of my strength. And there we go. That pump is now assembled. I can adjust the position of the top a little bit here. In fact, I'd kind of like that to be back this way just a little bit. I can feel like it's tightening up when I push it that way. So what that tells me is maybe I should have the brass just turned a little bit towards me. So I'm going to loosen these nuts on the bottom and readjust that. So I'm just able to spin the whole cylinder now because it's not tight at the base. I'm just going to turn the spout so it heads a little bit more towards the middle of the sink, and I'll retighten these bolts down here. Go, and you can feel it blowing some air there. That's a nice tight leather seal. It's even got some suction here and making the handle want to rise. So the best way to prime the pump is to fill the pipe with water before you assemble the pump on top. I forgot to do that, so I'm going to try and do it the other way, which is to get water into the pump and then pump it and create enough, hope that that creates enough vacuum in the pipe that the water will begin to rise up from the lake and eventually will eliminate all the air from the pump, from the pipe, and we'll have a continuous connection of water between the lake and the pump. Pump really can't pump air, but if we get it full of water sort of locally and we keep pumping on that, it will create a vacuum in the pipe and it will cause the water to rise. Things have to be in pretty perfect shape for this method to work. If you have any air leaks in the pipe where it attaches below the counter here to the pump, or anywhere any cracks or anything in the pipe down below, it's not going to work. So we start by just holding this little pot of water. Let's get the paper towel out of the way here. Things are going to get a little messy. Hold this little pot of water under the spout, and it's going to blow some air and gradually suck water back in through that cup, and that's just helping to fill up the pump with water, which is going to help it produce the vacuum that it needs to bring water up the pipe here. If you start to lift some water, you're going to feel a little bit of resistance in the pumping, and that's a good thing. Every time I pump this and air comes out, that's also a good thing, because as long as air doesn't come back into the system anywhere, then at somewhere I'm replacing that air with water. So as the little pot gets empty and I start to suck air back in, I don't want that to happen, so I just refill it so that I have all these air coming out, no air getting sucked back in. Starting to feel quite a bit of resistance on the pipe, and there we go, look at that. All of a sudden, no more air, and now I've got water. That is lake water. It has come up through my pipe, and there we go. We are primed and ready to go.